On Wednesday, July 18th, the attention of the world focused with disbelief here in the border town of San Isidro. Today, this is the only reminder of what happened on this spot, but the memories will haunt us forever. Let's go back to that night and Marty Levine.
Shortly before 4 o'clock this afternoon, 41-year-old James Huberty walked into the McDonald's in the 400 block of West San Isidro Boulevard in San Isidro. He yelled the word freeze, and then he opened fire. The terror, the tragedy, the madness which followed can really not be described. When all the shooting was over, after a member of the police SWAT team had shot and killed Huberty, 21 people were dead. Many others were injured. Many of them remain in the hospital. It was the worst multiple murder by one gunman in the history of this country.
The death toll started at 6, then 10, 20, and climbing. By 4:15, a virtual army of police and rescue personnel had crowded the main street through this border town. Suddenly, a shot was fired. Police radio screamed, "He's down, he's down, the suspect's down." James Huberty had fallen to a SWAT sharpshooter's bullet. One single bullet killed the man who had apparently systematically fired, loaded, and reloaded his weapon to kill all those people. It all happened in about an hour. No one can explain why.
It's a very, very sad thing, and such a waste of human life that you just cannot comprehend it. It doesn't look real.
There is only one sure fact. The man was charged, convicted, sentenced, and executed by the split-second thunder of a police sharpshooter's bullet. That image, too, will echo through this neighborhood forever.
Okay, I've sent the blood to the operating room, all right? Bye. I need a warm blanket.
Right about here. That comes in warm blanket.
Hey, Ron, talk to me. Talk to me now. You're not talking anymore. Ron, put your arms down by your side. You're doing fine.
At UCSD, they say the timing of the event could save lives. It was at an hour of the day when they were at full staff, and the patients were staggered enough to allow the best care.
What can you say in a case like this? It is very difficult to be able to give them a word of comfort.
Young people gathered in the parking lot talking about their friends, what somebody had heard, rumors. For some, the ending was happy. Maria Imelda Diaz and her 2-year-old boy, Fuet, had been inside McDonald's when the shooting started. Mrs. Diaz got outside right away. Her son did not. She saw him inside against the window, crying.
And she waved at the little boy to come out, you know. So the little boy came out, pushed the door and came out. That's when she grabbed him and he'll stay there until, you know, they got him.
The boy got out safely. He and his mother went to the substation to be united with their anxious family.
Talking to us at a secret location, Etna Huberty built a profile of her husband as a man who himself was hurt. She said after losing his last job, his sane periods were few and far between, that he realized he was having problems, and just 2 days before the shooting spree, sought psychiatric help.
I think he called. I heard him talking to someone about it on the phone, and then he came out in the kitchen. He told me that they would call him with an appointment. And he sat in the chair with the phone beside him, waiting and waiting, and no one ever called back.
2 months later, the McDonald's restaurant was stripped of its contents, the building demolished, and the land leveled. But the horror of San Isidro would not be erased, and the question why never answered. The person whose camera recorded so much of the emotion is Scott Hall, too young to know the experiences of military combat, but permanently affected by what he saw at San Isidro.
It was my first assignment on something like this. All I saw was black and white. You know, on our camera, the monitor you see is black and white. You don't get the real feeling of being there in person. I don't anyway, because I'm seeing everything through the camera. It was later that I did have some real serious problems, some very strong memories of all the bodies we saw lying on the floor, of all the people rushing out, crying, screaming, just frantic. And it was a couple of days after it really happened that I finally felt the whole impact of the thing, that I started feeling guilt, and some guilt, more so anger as to why he would do all that.